Could it be? But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Rep Your Squad, a place where all fans of all 32 teams in the National Football League can come together and simply rep their squad. Week 9 edition. A lot of intriguing things took place in week number 9. Dwayne Haskins got his first career NFL start in Buffalo. Didn't go the way that he probably wanted it to, but thought he actually fared well given the circumstances of the defense he was facing and the play calling that he was exposed to, which might have probably been in his best interest, but they could have done more still. But there were some really entertaining games. Raiders hosting Lions. Raiders' first time being home in over a month. That was a hell of a football game. Came down to the final play of the game. Same could be said in Seattle with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers looking to crash another West Coast party like they did with the Rams. They almost came close to doing it again with another NFC West team. This time Seattle took them to overtime where the Seahawks were able to prevail there. That was an entertaining game. So was the game in Kansas City between the Chiefs and the Vikings. That was a hell of a football game. One that Matt Moore is probably my favorite backup quarterback of all time. We've seen a bunch of backups come and go in this league for many, many years. We've seen the guys that find a nice, cozy spot behind a legend and don't have to play, and so they're earning a check, like Frank Wright. Well, Frank Wright earned his money when he would come in for Jim Kelly, but like Painter, Curtis Painter in Indy. For years, Jim Sorgi was behind Peyton Manning and never played, and no one knew how bad he was until Manning actually got hurt and he had to play, and he was awful. We've seen those guys collect a check for many years. Matt Moore has always been my favorite backup quarterback. Even back into his days in Carolina, I always thought that he could start for someone in this league and be solid. Like, he wasn't going to set the earth on fire, and he's going to make his fair share of mistakes because he's a backup, but I always liked Matt Moore, and I felt like if you were a team in need of a quality backup, for instance, he would have been a perfect backup for the Steelers because you knew that there was a realistic possibility that Ben was going to miss 2 to 4 weeks at some point of the season. Matt Moore is the guy that's going to come in and steady the ship, and he did it again. They didn't beat the Green Bay Packers, almost beat them, but they did slay another team in that division in the Minnesota Vikings. That was a hell of a football game there. You look around the rest of the league, whoa, that Green Bay Chargers outcome, very surprising. Did not see that one coming. They stymied that offense. The Browns are dead in Denver. That was a horrible game by the Browns, and you thought that was one that they could actually get and start to get on a roll. Weren't able to do that. So got our first call of the night, though. I'm going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with? What's going on, B.E.?
Just got off work.
Man, it's been a while, bruh.
Hey, well, I've been working. Every time you go live, I'm at work.
Hey, I'm not mad at that, man. Get the bread. You always know how I say, man. Get the bread, bruh. Get the bread. If they offering it, go and get it,
You almost
man.
had them.
You did, man. Look, I've been really impressed. I've been really impressed with your team. I told you I was a huge fan, and you know this, of the hiring of your head coach. A lot of people thought it was a bad hiring.
Cliff and Kyler.
I told you I loved Cliff Kingsbury, and I thought that he did a hell of a job at Texas Tech. I know he had a losing record, but it was because the defense stunk, not because of the offense. So I felt like he could come in here and do some good things, and you're starting to see that now. Kyler's getting more comfortable, and you're starting to see that this team has talent.
Exactly. But no, kind of funny story with the game against the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
My friend was having a Halloween party, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to be there at 8 o'clock after the game. He's like, no problem. Halftime comes. I'm like, fuck this. Go to the store, pick up some fucking Fireball whiskey because we're all drinking. Get to his house, we're all drinking, and I look at the score, I'm like, 21-14, okay. Or no, 21-14, okay. 21-17, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should have came here and drink early. We probably would have won.
Right. So you were expecting a blowout, and what you got was a hell of a football game. Now, there was a time where it looked like it was getting away from you in the second half, and then you kind of just...
No, in the second quarter when it was 21-7.
Yeah. Now, I still wasn't sure it was going to get away from you there. It was in the second half. when I think it got to 20. What was it? 28 to what was it at that point?
17, I think. Yeah, 28 to 17.
Yeah, because you were down.
That's before we got that Andy Isabella bomb.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was 28-14 because you ended up kicking it. He settled for a field goal. I didn't think he was going to do it, but he took the points. You got the stop, and then you got the Andy Isabella bomb, and that cut it to 3 after you went for 2. And so it was 28-14. I thought they were going to run away from you then, and they didn't. And I was shocked. And so...
and here's the funny thing. Technically, we could have won that game. If we don't call that timeout at the end of the half...
Yeah, I talked about that. I talked about that on Thursday night. I said that not only... Because, you think of it in terms of a swing and 4 points, if you give up a touchdown versus a field goal, whatever the case may be. That's a 7-point swing there because they don't get anything. That was 4th down. They get nothing there. You lose the game. Now, obviously, that changes the context of the game. If they don't get those points, how they approach the rest of the game probably changes. I don't know if it changes for the better or for the worse, but it changes the way they approach the second half of this game. But that was a big play, and I talked about this, how that was the second time a timeout being called in a game in Arizona this year impacted the outcome, as you remember.
Yep.
Week 1.
Lions was the first one,
right.
And then this one.
This was the second one. So I just found that fascinating that it was a timeout that really doomed you guys because you had them stopped.
And we held them, so I think it was 3 straight 3-and-outs or 2. It was 2 straight 3-and-outs. I know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, even if we get the touchdown on the first drive,
Mm-hmm.
and even if we go get field goals on the next 2 drives, that's still 13-0 right off the back.
Yeah. Yep. I mean,
So,
it would have been intriguing to have seen what would have happened had they not gotten that 4th down conversion going into the half.
because I was looking at the stats, and for as dominant as this 49ers defense is, we gashed them for the most points, most rushing yards, most passing yards, and most total yards.
Yeah, that's family business, though. I said this on my podcast, and I didn't know if anybody had gotten a chance to listen to that when I gave my prediction for the game. But I said this is going to be close because it's family business. You guys own. A lot of people don't realize you owned them before that game. There was 7, 8 in a row, whatever it was. They could not beat you.
They beat us was December 28th, 2014, with Ryan Lindley at quarterback.
Exactly. So you guys owned them. So it was family business. So I expected this to be a close game, and you guys did exactly what I thought you were going to do. But anyway, all right, hey, B.E., man, appreciate you chiming in. Straight fresh off of work, man. Looking forward to talking to you. Don't be a stranger either, man. Have a good one, bro.
I'm still waiting to see if I actually lose, and if I lose, the winners and losers.
Oh, you gonna lose. You gonna lose, B.E. You gonna lose.
I'm not gonna lose. I'm gonna win it.
You keep believing that, man.
I'm in 4th right now. I'm not that many games behind.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see. We are going to see.
Remember what the bet I made. I can't.
Oh yeah. Hey, we're not gonna let you forget it, bro. Trust me.
Oh, I know. I'll own up to it if I lose.
Okay.
Whoever wins first place, come to me.
Hey, I told you, I'll spare you when I win. Don't worry. Hey, B.E., man, have a good one, man. Take care.
Take care.
No doubt. So, B.E., obviously a Cardinals fan. They came dangerously close to upsetting the undefeated San Francisco 49ers on Thursday. They got the week started off really well with that game. It was a really good week of football, and that game kind of started the trend of the week. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Oh, this is Ben.
What's going on, man? Rep your squad.
I'm a Redskins fan, sadly.
Okay.
What do you think about our next head coach possibly, and who would you want there?
Like I said, it's hard to really say. It really, I don't play the head coach wish list game because if we were a better organization, then you could do that. Like I said, I just view it as we got to take the guy that wants this job that is the best qualified guy for the job. That's where we are because of Bruce Allen and because of the state of this organization. You're not going to attract a lot of guys that want this job, that are clamoring to be the next Redskins head coach. Like I said, there are going to be a bunch of retreads that are interested. The Mike McCarthy's, the Rex Ryans, all the guys looking to get back into the profession that can't get a job that are on TV or whatever the case may be, that will take any job they can get their hands on. Yeah, those guys are dying to get their hands on a Redskins job. But if you're a respected young up-and-coming coach, or you're in the college ranks and you're killing it there and you want a chance in the NFL, the Redskins job is the last job you're looking at. So, again, it's hard for me to say. I think that personally, I really want Kevin O'Connell to be good at what he does, but we can't see that. There's no way to be able to tell if he's actually a good offensive mind or not, because he's being handcuffed by Bill Callahan. So even that one thing that I wanted, I'm not going to really be able to see. So I can't make a real determination as to whether he's a credible option as a head coach or not, because we can't see what this guy has in terms of an offensive vision for this team moving forward, with Dwayne Haskins potentially at quarterback. So it's hard for me to say, really.
All right. Do you think there's any chance that Bruce gets fired?
I've said this a million times. No, I don't. And there was a viewer that brought up a really good point. He said, look, Bruce is out in front of this stadium deal until there is a new home for the Redskins in 2027 with dirt that has already been broken, and the process has already been started, and we know exactly where the Redskins' new stadium will be. Bruce Allen isn't going anywhere. And so until that happens, I think that's the first thing that has to happen before we can actually realistically have Bruce out of the door. But I don't see that happening. I just don't see Bruce going anywhere. I don't.
All right, that's it.
Hey, man, appreciate you. Have a good one. So, some other games that were really fascinating in Week 9. The Dolphins got their first win. I knew that was coming. I predicted that. It was family business, and I said that that when they won this season, because I did expect them to win. A lot of people thought they were going to be 0-16 and that they were tanking. And I said, look, the Dolphins aren't tanking, because if they were, they would have started Josh Rosen for the remainder of the season. So that told me that they weren't tanking, that they were getting closer and they were getting confident. And if they were going to win a game, it was going to be someone probably in the division, and it was definitely going to be at home. Who better than the Jets? That's the team that they're just as good as, if not better than, in that division, and they took care of business. Good for them. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, what's up, man? It's Tracy.
What's going on, man? Rep your squad.
Redskins Nation, man. Redskins Nation.
All right. Talk to me.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to, I heard the last game talking about the coach thing. And what do you think about, you remember when in the offseason, Rex Ryan put us like number 5 for defenses coming into the season?
Mm-hmm.
There's been a couple of cases where I've seen him talking good about the Redskins. And he had a great defensive team with the Jets back then. When he had Mark Sanchez as quarterback. I would say this would be kind of a similar gig. You know, we have a young guy in Dwayne Haskins and what's supposed to be a great defense. What do you think about that? I know you say you don't like to touch on the coach thing, but how do you think about actually having Rex Ryan in a similar situation when he was with the Jets?
So I used to be a Rex Ryan guy. I wasn't really a fan of him in Buffalo. I thought he did a hell of a job with the Jets, you know, for all those years. That organization is just as dysfunctional as any of the other dysfunctional organizations around. Ours, the Bengals, the Browns. Throw the Jets in there, they're just as dysfunctional as the rest of them. So I thought for 7 years, he did a hell of a job there. You know, took him to 2 AFC championship games. And like you said, he did it with Dirty Chaz at quarterback. So the defense, and they ran the football. I don't know if I feel like he can replicate that here. He didn't in Buffalo. And I didn't like the way things went in Buffalo. I didn't think he did a really good job in Buffalo. I thought there was a lot of finger pointing in Buffalo when he was there. I don't know if I would really endorse him coming here. I do know that if he came here, the defense would be better. That we would see an uptick in the defensive performances from a week and a week in, week out basis. But I don't really know how I feel because he's not an offensive guy, and I don't know if I trust him to nurture the quarterback position. He's never had a real quarterback anywhere he's been. So I don't know if whether it's Geno Smith, whether it's, Mark Sanchez, or you go to Buffalo and it was Tyrod Taylor and a number of other guys. I don't know if I trust him specifically to get the most out of the offense and Dwayne Haskins. And I know when all else fails with him, his safety net is, hey, just run the football. Don't turn it over, my defense. And that's how you get in trouble with a young quarterback with a defensive-minded head coach, because the defensive-minded coach is always thinking about how can we best win games, especially when the offense is struggling. And a lot of times their default is, hey, just run the ball, don't turn it over. That's what Mike Zimmer was doing in Minnesota, and it almost caused a damn mutiny out there, because he was like, look, my defense is good enough, and y'all not getting it done on offense. Just don't turn it over. Just run the damn ball. Just do that. Stay out the way, run the ball, we'll win games. And I think Rex Ryan is cut from that same cloth. So I'm good on Rex Ryan. I wouldn't be distraught if he was the coach, but I think you can do much better than him.
So let me ask you this. Okay, you said Rex Ryan's not an offensive guy. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm 27 and I've been a Redskins fan since I knew what football was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I could be wrong, but from what I've been watching with the Redskins, when have we ever been like the sexy offensive Aaron Rodgers type team? Like, didn't we always win with like the rugged style of play that Rex Ryan offers? Like,
yeah, but
I'm not really so.
Yeah.
Saying, let's go to the offensive mind coach, because I don't know if we can handle that. You know what I mean?
So, to your initial point, yes, that is how we won, but that was in a different era. That was a different day and age. That was a different era. That was pre-free agency. We haven't won since 1992, really. I mean, we haven't won anything since 91, but 92 was the last year of Joe Gibbs 1.0, and that was the last time we were actually a respected outfit in the NFL. So we haven't really won anything doing it really anyway. We've tried just about every way. The hot offensive-minded college coach in Steve Spurrier, the hot NFL offensive mind in Norv Turner, the strict disciplinarian defensive guy, which we really didn't give him a shot one year with Marty, and I thought Marty was starting to change things and for the better here, and then he got kicked out by Dan Snyder. But we've done it. Jim Zorn, which was just a lost cause, but we've done every way you can. Brought Joe Gibbs back for 2.0. Mike Shanahan, hell, we took a two-time Super Bowl winning head coach and rubbed his damn face all through the dirt and mud and drug him through the mud. So we've done it every way you could imagine and effed it up. So my thing is, you have to get with the times. And just like in the NBA, I'm a Grizzlies fan, and we tried to run grit and grind. I don't even know if you understand that concept, but we tried to go slow tempo, win in the paint, and we would still get bludgeoned to death or beat down because we were trying to bludgeon the opponent, and they were shooting threes, and we was trying to shoot twos, and we would still lose. Even though, it was a tough way to defend us because, we were going to beat you up on the boards. It didn't matter. You were going to make threes, we weren't, and you were going to win the game. Same thing in the NFL now. You want to run the football, that's cool, and running is still good if you can do it. We're looking at the Ravens do it. If you can embrace that type of play and master it, then you have a shot to be able to do that. But let's not mistake this. The Ravens are a unique case. They have Lamar Jackson. He's a unicorn. So to think that anybody can just duplicate or replicate what they do, you'd be sadly mistaken. The 49ers run the football. They also throw it too. And they also have dynamic playmakers like George Kittle at tight end. And so when you look at the other teams in the league that run the football effectively, they have a game plan, a strategy, a way of going about it. And, oh, by the way, they have elite defense, which I don't think we have because we still don't have an elite pass rusher. We still got a lot of things that we need to make this defense elite. So I don't think that going about it that way would be necessarily the best way. I'm not here to tell you that it's the wrong way. I just would go about it a different way.
I got you. And I just have another thing. Okay, first, before I make the point, I just want to know, after the bye, do we see Haskins and Geis, or do we see Case Keenum and AP again?
Okay, so this is my gut feel right now, and I talked about this on the Redskins Nightly News tonight already, but Callahan hasn't made a decision yet, which is asinine. Makes no sense whatsoever.
I hate Bill Callahan, by the way, man. I hate him.
I think I talked about that on the show tonight, so I'm gonna just leave that at that. I don't hate the man.
So if you put it on nightly news, after you go live, I'll probably watch it anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you digest it.
Haskins played great. Well, not great. I'll say he played okay for what babysitting job they asked him to do. And, I think I'll tune into your nightly news and everything, man. I appreciate the call, man.
Hey, no doubt, man. Have a good one. So, take a comment right quick. Mandalorian Legion says, for my Bills, how did you think our team did and were you impressed with Singletary? Well, you already know. I'm a Singletary guy. I'm a Devin Singletary guy through and through. My two favorite players in this year's draft, past draft, was Devin Singletary and David Montgomery. So you already knew how I felt about Devin Singletary. I thought he got overlooked because of his size. Had he been 5'11" and ran a 4.47, he would have been a first round pick right there with Josh Jacobs. But because he's 5'9", 5'8", 5'9", and he doesn't run a 4 anything, and as a matter of fact, he ran a 4.6 at the combine. I think he's more of a 4.5 guy. It dropped him down draft boards, and I thought that was a mistake that teams made because this guy can catch it, he can run it, he's elusive. I love Devin Singletary. I think the Bills need to feature him more. I've talked about that in past weeks. And I know there was an injury in there that kind of slowed his development and growth, but he's back now, he's healthy, and they need to give him more opportunities. I thought he was really impressive. Got a call, going to go ahead and take it. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, you're on live, man. Who am I speaking with?
I'm speaking with David. I'm from Sacramento.
All right,
I'm a
David.
Saints fan.
Rep your squad.
Thanks.
All right, talk to me.
Just interested to see, what's your opinion on, different matchups? Do you think, for example, if we're matched up against the Packers, I think we have a chance in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if it's the Niners, I feel like their defensive line can go against our O-line. Can you specifically talk about, different matchups?
Sure. So right now, and it's early to start using the P word, but with specific teams like the Saints, I think those teams are going to make the postseason. The Packers are going to make the postseason, barring some kind of catastrophe. And as you mentioned, the 49ers, those are, and don't forget about the Seattle Seahawks. They're in there as well. They're a 7-win team as well, so don't leave them out of the mix. But we'll start with your first team, the Packers. I think you match up very well with the Green Bay Packers. I think you'd be able to handle them, especially if that game is in New Orleans. If that game is outside in the frigid cold temperatures of Lambeau Field in Green Bay, that could change some things. That may sway it in the favor of the Packers. I don't know. But defensively, I think you can slow down that offense. I just watched the Chargers this past week slow them down and grind them down to essentially nothing offensively. And I think you can move the football on their defense. So I do like the matchup of the Saints over the Packers. 49ers, I think that's a really intriguing matchup again. I don't think necessarily the venue really changes anything, home, away. I think you could go out there and have success. I think the thing that I would really pay attention to is how do you get Alvin Kamara out in space, because I think the Cardinals kind of gave everybody a blueprint on how to really get them out of their comfort zone. They had issues stopping the running back that they just got from the Dolphins. He had a monster day against them, catching it out of the backfield, running it. And so if you can duplicate that with Alvin Kamara, I think you could have some success against them. And their defense is good, but and now they just lost Quan Alexander, one of their best linebackers, and really was one of the guys that was the heart of their defense. I think that's a team that as the season continues to progress, you're going to start to see some chinks here and there, things you can take advantage of. I still like the Saints because I think the offense is going to get better with Drew Brees as he gets more and more comfortable. But this defense has been impressive. As long as this defense continues to play the way that they've played the first 8 games of the season, I feel like this Saints team right now is constructed is as dangerous as anyone in the NFC. And the Seahawks, same deal. I think you match up well. And the Seahawks defensively aren't all that great. You know, I watched Tampa just...
I feel like they're frauds. I feel like the Seahawks specifically, I feel like each win they're getting is very, very close. They barely beat the Bengals on week 1.
Yep.
Barely beat the Rams with the missed kick. It seems like they're just scratching by.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to get really exposed in the playoffs. Even like the Cowboys, I think, are far superior than the Seahawks right now.
That may be the case. I don't see them as frauds, and here's why. Russell Wilson is so good. He's playing at an MVP level right now.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Because of his ability to elevate that team, I don't believe in their defense right now. I don't. But I believe in Russell Wilson, man. If you watch him on a weekly basis and these throws that he's making and how he's extending, he's playing at another level right now. I haven't seen this from him ever. Like, he's playing next level. I think that contract has given him the ability to just go out and just play ball, man. He is playing at an MVP level, and he's elevating that team.
Just so much fun to watch.
He is.
He
really is.
Entertaining.
He is. I agree, man. So I wouldn't discount them, but as you mentioned, I think that your ability to get after them defensively, and if you can bottle up Russell Wilson, I'm not afraid of their defense. So I think you would be able to move the football on their defense. So right now, the Saints, to me, along with the 49ers, are the 2 front runners in the NFC. I would not discount Green Bay. I would not discount Seattle. And I would look out for one, not both, but just one of those NFC East teams, either Dallas or Philadelphia. I'm not in love with Philadelphia right now. I think they're just getting by. Mm-hmm. But Dallas, as you mentioned, if they get their act together, you could throw them in that mix. And I expect them to get hot here and separate themselves.
Dallas is if you look at their schedule, the next 8, and compared to Philly's schedule, Philly's is just much easier.
Yep.
If Dallas loses like 3 straight, they could be out. Because if you just go, like, if you have time, look at it, and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah, no.
Like,
they got Buffalo, they got New England, they got well, Chicago was supposed to be a hard game. That's no, but they got Minnesota next week. I mean,
Detroit, they can lose that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some tough games on the schedule for them, but that's what proves to me that you're a legit team. You got to be able to win some of these games. You're not going to win all of them, but you got to be able to win some of these games and prove that you belong in that discussion with a New Orleans, with a Green Bay, because Green Bay has beaten some of these teams. New Orleans has beaten some of these teams. You have to prove that you're of that caliber by going out and winning some of these games.
Thanks for taking my call, Louie.
Hey, no doubt, man. You have a good one. Take care. So, my man, Mandalorian Legion, I like I said, a lot of Bills fans have been disappointed with the way you've performed the last couple of weeks against the Redskins, against the Dolphins. I could care less about any of that. Win games. That's what it's all about. Continue to win, because winning begets confidence. Confidence begets winning. And the more you win, the more confident your team becomes. And it doesn't matter what the deficit is. It doesn't matter how the game starts off. You expect to still win. And so just continue to find ways to win. It doesn't have to be pretty. You just have to find a way to get it done. And that's what you've done. And right now, you know, you're right there. Patriots are 8-1. You're at 6-2. You're right there. And I like where this Bills team is right now. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, Lou, what's up? It's Tim, a.k.a. Brown Shoe. How you doing?
What's going on, Brown Shoe, man? Rep your squad.
Man, the Bengals. Hey, we're the only team without a win this year.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Hey, I'm telling you, you're going to win a game here shortly, man. Especially if you get A.J. Green back. I think you're going to win something. And I'm a Ryan Finley guy. So, and you know what sucks about this situation? And I got a buddy that's in Cincinnati, so he's kind of been giving me the vibe in Cincinnati. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. But, you know, a lot of people, Andy himself wasn't happy about the decision, especially the timing of it. I agree with him that, one, Andy didn't do anything wrong. All right, but this is more of a, I said this in the preseason, and I don't know if you remember this, but when we played you guys in the preseason, I said I would not be shocked if at some point, if the Bengals aren't doing well, even if Andy Dalton isn't to blame, that Ryan Finley gets the nod, because I think Zach Taylor handpicked Ryan Finley and said, I can grow with this guy. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think he's going to get an opportunity. I expect him to do well with this opportunity. And I think he's going to be the guy moving forward. Andy was pretty pissed, not just at the fact that he got benched, but also the timing of it, because he could have got traded. He felt like, look, if you were going to do this and you knew you were going to do this, why not give me a chance to get moved to another situation that may be conducive where I could actually play and help a team? I thought they could have done it sooner. They knew they were going to bench him. They knew where this was going. They were 0-8 or 0-7. They probably should have done it a week sooner, given him a chance to hit the market and maybe had a team display some interest and maybe be able to move him for something. But your organization is just as bad as mine, and so you don't take advantage of opportunities like that.
Yeah, the Mike Brown is the worst owner in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. They could go and talk about, Dallas or the Redskins or, the Jets, whatever organization you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Ohio has the worst football teams in the nation. I don't even care. Like, you can talk about the Browns and the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them suck.
Right.
The last time, I'm 30 years old, and the last time the Bengals won in the playoffs, I was like 2. And that's not even an exaggeration.
Right.
I was like 2 the last time the Bengals won in the playoffs.
Right.
It's long overdue, but I don't think we'll win. We might beat the Dolphins, but I doubt it. Just because they're going to be like, you know what, we're going to lose the number 1 pick overall. And I don't think that Finley's going to be the quarterback next season. I think we're drafting one.
Think so?
I think that's why Andy was so pissed. I think that they sat him down and be like, look, your time here in Cincinnati's done. Like, doesn't matter if Finley does, horrible. We're picking a quarterback 1st overall, 2nd overall.
Right.
And what I've heard, this is just reports. It could be completely wrong.
Right.
But what I've heard is that a couple of teams offered a 2nd-round pick for Dalton. Which, shit, if you're going to get rid of him, you might as well pick up a 2nd-round pick for him. I don't know. This organization, I don't know why I'm a Bengals fan right now. I'm going to stick with my team. It's where I grew up in. Right now I'm in North Dakota. I ain't in Cincinnati.
Right.
But, I might be a Vikings fan here soon. Or maybe everybody's a Philly fan up here because of Carson Wentz. He was from North Dakota.
Right.
I don't know. I might be a Philly fan. You might hate me, though.
Hey, look, man. I hear you, bro. You got to stick with your squad. It's what you know. It's what you've always been. I'm a Redskins fan. I can identify with a dysfunctional organization that makes you feel like there's no hope. And to your point, if that is in fact true, if there was even one team, all right, and I don't care if that one team was the Pittsburgh Steelers, if somebody was willing to give you a 2nd-round pick for Andy Dalton, you take that in a heartbeat. All right? So if there's any validity to that, that just goes to show you how much, dysfunction exists in that organization. Not to mention, I felt like you guys should have traded A.J. Green too, but that's another story for another day.
I think he's going to walk.
Yeah.
I think he's going to, because his contract's up after this year.
Right.
I think he's done. And what I heard that it was from the Bears. Like, the Bears were trying to get competitive. Like, I've been hearing a lot of noise up in Chicago saying that the fans are wanting Trubisky's head on a spike right now.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched a couple of Bears games, and he didn't look good at all. Like, his stats are deceptive. Like, they're not great stats, but, like, when I watch the Bears, I'm just kind of like, that's pretty iffy right there. But I don't know. Like, I like Andy Dalton. I'm gonna be a fan. I'm always gonna be a Bengals fan. I might joke around about it, but like, that's my.
I know you
I
are.
grew up in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I know you were joking, man. I know it's just frustrating. I'm right there with you, man. As a Redskins fan and a lifelong Redskins fan, I understand your plight and your struggle. You said your team hasn't won since you were 2 years old, a playoff game. Ours isn't that long of a streak. However, we haven't played meaningful football in quite some time. And so I get it, man. I totally get it, man. Hang in there. All I can tell you is I tell most Redskins fans, hang in there, man. It'll make the journey that much sweeter when you finally get to the top. Whenever the hell that is.
At least you got a Super Bowl ring. We don't even have that. We got
it.
You know what's crazy is that I had a Lions fan. My man Likely Phenomenon said the same thing. And Redskins fans don't want to hear that shit because we stay living in the past. You know, anytime we sign a free agent or we bring a new coach in here, we trot out the 3 Super Bowl trophies, the Lombardis, and we put them front and center. And we're sick and tired of that, man. Like, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, that's the past. Like, we want to make new history. We want to make new memories, and we're so far from that right now.
And let me put this out there. I'm a big Andy Dalton fan, and I think it's stupid to go away from him. I thought that was the worst decision they could do because they should build around him, in my opinion, still. Well, look at this. Since Mike Brown took over the Cincinnati Bengals, we've only had 7 winning seasons. 5 of them were with Andy Dalton. 2 of them were with Carson Palmer. I'm just putting that out there. Andy Dalton wasn't the problem. We have a dysfunctional organization that comes from Mike Brown.
Yeah, no, you're right. And Andy didn't do anything wrong this year. You know what I mean? When you look at Andy and the way he's played, has he missed some throws? Sure, but he hasn't had his number one guy. I thought he's actually played solidly given the circumstances. But let me ask you this. This is my last question. I'll let you roll after this. At any point this year did you say, man, I wish Marvin Lewis was here?
I mean, I still we got to move on. I mean, Zach Taylor's obviously, in my opinion, not the answer, but he's been dealt with a shit hand. I mean, if you look at it, I'm going to give Zach Taylor a pass. I don't think that he's the answer right now, but who knows? This is his first year. He was never even an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Like, he was promoted from a quarterback coach. But, I mean, if you look at it, he didn't have A.J. Green. His left tackle was ruled out after the Redskins game. He was on concussion protocol since the preseason. His first-round draft pick in Jonah Williams, he's done. Like, we had to go and pick up Andre Smith to be a tackle when he's washed up. Mm-hmm. Like, we had so many problems. Like, defense, Darquez Denard's barely been playing. Like, we have no linebackers. We had, 3 starting out in the season. Like, our linebackers are garbage. Like, I'll let Zach Taylor go and have maybe a year or 2 before I'm too angry with him. Yeah. But, right now, I'm not impressed. Like, the play calling is what gets me with Taylor. Like, we could be 0-8 right now, but, the play calling that I've seen on occasions, I'm just dude, this is super predictable. This is not cutting it. Right. But I'll let him have a year or 2 just because of what's going on right now with injuries and, who he's got on the field, because you only can do so much with so little,
Right. I feel you, man. Hey, BST2, man. Good hearing from you, man. Hang in there, bro. It's a long season. I understand. We going through it too, man. Hang in there. Keep your head up.
All right. See you, man.
Hey, have a good one. That's my guy, man. BST2, man. We've been through a lot together, man. And we used to go at it. We used to butt heads. Because I used to be passionate about Cincinnati a while back. And he used to be passionate because they were actually winning. And we would talk back and forth. And to see where they are, to see where we are, it's frustrating, man. It really is. But it is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. We both stink, and we're both a couple of the worst organizations in football. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with? Hello?
Louie T.
Hey, what's going on?
You still on live here?
Yes, man. I wouldn't have answered the phone if I wasn't.
Oh, my bad, man. I was looking for your introduction, man. This is Zindico, bro. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Zindico, man? Rep your squad, bro.
Hey, it's Panther talk time, man. Just trying to hold on this roller coaster ride we got going on, man.
Hey, I feel you, bro.
Week, man.
I feel you, bro. Hey, that was a big one y'all got this week, and it was necessary.
It was a big one we took last week. You know what I mean? But hey, we all expected that, man.
I'm about to say you called it. You called it on this program a couple of weeks ago when I asked you.
I
did you think you could take down San Francisco? You was like, man, I'm not feeling good about this, man. I'm really not.
No, man, ain't no feeling good. I knew we were going to
right.
That L, man. But hey, listen, that's what the car hype died down that week, and guess what? Now it's right back, man.
Yeah.
This cat, I'll give them that.
Well, look, this is the thing. They needed all the Kyle Allen fans needed that dose of reality. You know what I mean? They needed that. Now, obviously, with every win, it's going to it's going to be a crescendo. It's going to continue to rise. You know, that whole notion that he needs to be the starter, Cam doesn't. But I think we still need Cam to get healthy. And that report that he had to go see a specialist that was an alarming report. Like, the foot hasn't gotten any better.
Bro, the drama continues, man. The drama continues.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, by default, this may end up being Kyle Allen's team for the remainder of the season.
That's what I was saying last time I called, man.
Yeah.
Cam is done. Before I was optimistic he was gonna come back as a rap dude. We ain't gonna see him this year.
Yeah,
so now you gotta be like, what's going on? Like I said, the drama continues, man. Nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Well, then the next question I have for you is this team good enough to make the postseason with Kyle Allen? Because you got a ton of divisional games left. You haven't played a lot of teams in the division. Is he good enough to split with?
Here's the thing. We might slip through that back door, man, because Atlanta ain't going to put up no fight.
Right.
The only person I'm worried about is maybe Andy. Well, heck, Brissett went down yesterday, didn't he? So
he did. But
we got Green Bay coming up.
He sprained his MCL.
That's all I'm worried about. And if we could clear the rest of them games, yeah, we might slip through the back door. But now, are we a first round exit? Probably so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the NFC to me is more competitive than the AFC. And if you get in as a wild card, which right now looks like that's going to be your only way in with the Saints playing the way that they playing, you're going to have to go to somebody's field, and just about everybody that is anybody in the NFC plays some sort of defense. May not be elite, but they play some sort of defense. And what he showed against the 49ers, they're a different animal though, man. Like, that's why I don't want to kill him, because I'm like, they're pretty damn good on defense, okay?
Yeah, I'll give him that.
They're pretty damn good.
That bye week, Ron Rivera, man, he takes that bye week seriously. He out there fishing. He out there walking his dog. He ain't prepping for no games. This has been one of his Achilles heel for years, man. So, yeah, I knew that one was coming.
You stupid, man. So you've been watching too much of that the Amazon joint. He told me he out here with his dog.
That's real talk, man. Listen to a press conference. He'll tell you everything he did, man. All these big losses, man, in primetime games, I don't trust him, man.
Yeah, that's funny.
Never will.
Hey, that was a good one.
Let me ask you this real quick. We just signed a wide receiver today. I don't know much about it. I wanted to pick your brain on
okay.
Dante Moncrief.
Yeah.
He's been a journeyman, man. A lot of up and down stats. Is he worth the pick or what?
Yeah, no. Look, Dante Moncrief, if in the right system and given opportunities, can be a quality NFL wide receiver. He's at this point, he's more of a third option than anything else. You know what I mean? Third, fourth option on the team. Right. He used to be a legit number 2. And he's fallen from grace. Those were his indie days. I thought he had a chance to really establish himself in Jacksonville. Did nothing there. He couldn't even get on the field in Pittsburgh. So that's why he got released. He's a guy that, again, you give him opportunities and you give him some situations where he can thrive. And I think you put him in that offense, he's the third, fourth option in Carolina. They got stuff out there that they like. I did not see this coming from Curtis Samuel. Let me start there. His maturation has been eye-popping. I'm proud of him because I didn't know he had this capability to play receiver. He came in as an athlete.
We saw this coming in training camp, man. It's been his year. This is what's going to be his year. He was due. If they give Kyle Allen time like they did against Tennessee, not only he's going to eat, but DJ Moore's going to eat. He had over 100 yards for his first time in his career.
Yep.
Curtis Samuel going to eat. Greg Olsen going to eat, man. It's all if our line holds up.
Yep.
We got the passing threat, and C-Mac gonna do his thing. He's been consistent the whole way through, my man. I mean, if this dude don't get an MVP nod, it's rigged, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. He fighting for his life with Russell Wilson, man. Russ is out there playing some ball, bruh. It's them two for me. It's them two. It's those two for me in the NFC along, and everybody want to throw in Bosa, but for me. The hell with Bosa. He can have Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year if they want to do that too. But for me, the MVP comes down to McCaffrey and Russ right now. Those dudes are going neck and neck. I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy. So, but back to the original point that a lot of Panthers fans were saying that they expected big things from Curtis Samuel this year. I never trusted him because he got 2 first names. But I was shocked watching this man do what he's done this season. The growth and the maturation there, got to give some credit to the wide receiver coach, whomever that is. This dude is really blossomed, man. He looks really, really good.
Hey, listen, as long as he stays healthy, man, you know he's a small dude.
Yeah.
He can't get broke up. That's the only concern, man. That's been a concern coming out of college.
Yep.
Just stay healthy, man, and the sky's the limit for this dude.
Yeah, indeed, man. I have fun watching y'all play this year. Y'all are a fun team to watch, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Quick prediction, man. All right, we saw Green Bay take this fall last week. Mm-hmm. We got a shot going up there, going into Green Bay, man?
Sure you do. Because this is the thing. Green Bay, offensively, they're still trying to find themselves. And I think what really messed them up last week versus the Chargers is that was the first game back with Devontae Adams. And Aaron Rodgers went out of his way to try to force him to football. When he wasn't in the lineup, everybody was getting a taste. You know what I mean? You get a little something, you get a little something, you get a little something. They got away from that because he was trying to get Devontae Adams back into the swing of things. So they should look better.
I get that.
They should look better this week.
You know, coming off a loss, man.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers, he always got that gig back. And last time he came to Carolina, I think it was his first game from his collarbone injury. We put that work on him.
Yeah.
So he's got double revenge on his mind. So hopefully we at least make the game exciting, man. Keep it close.
I'm going to tell you what.
I like our chances, though.
You should, because they can't stop the run. And you guys have a back that could easily go for $170 on them. No questions asked.
Hey,
so
I like the way that sounds.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you can run the ball with McCaffrey, you got a shot to go in there and win.
Right. Another quick thing, man.
Yep.
Your Redskins, bro.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in the last 2 minutes, man? This is a little gambling thing. They gave you guys 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was good.
Yep.
Last 2 minutes, I looked and it's 23 to whatever it was, 9, I think.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened there?
Yeah, they were moving the ball, man. They had a 3rd and 18, and we had a chance to get a stop, and we gave up 23 yards, which is typical of our defense, and they ultimately got a touchdown on that drive. They weren't supposed to get any points on that drive. The final score was supposed to end up 17-9. I think that's what the score was before that.
Yeah, that would have been solid too, man.
Yeah.
Wrecked my Sunday, bro.
Yeah. It was supposed to be 17. Worst case scenario, they were supposed to get a field goal out of that possession in 20-9, which that we wouldn't have covered then either, but they were going to punt the ball. I don't think they would have tried that field goal. It would have been a long attempt. It was windy. I think they would have just punted the ball, but you know, my defense, sorry, man. Don't ever bank on our defense to do anything for you, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, well, listen, man. I tell you what. If my man Kyle Allen goes into Green Bay, pulls off this win, they're going to do like they did in Philly, man. They're going to put a shrine up to this dude right in front of Cam's locker. I'm telling you, it's going to get that crazy. The drama is going to get
I can believe it, bro. I can believe it. Hey, Syndico, man, you have a good one, bro. Thanks for chiming in.
Hey, man, you take care, all right?
Hey, no doubt. Thanks for repping your squad.
Later, man.
All right. Oh, man, that was a good one. Anyway, let's get to some more comments before we get out of here. John Niner says, 8-0 Niners. Who wins on Monday night games? Seahawks or Niners, he says. That's going to be a fun one, man. I'm going to wait to see. I got to get my mind right, make sure everybody's healthy. But that's going to be a hell of a football game. That's a circle on the calendar type of ball game right there, man. That's going to be so much fun. Really, the primetime schedule next week looks like it's going to be awesome. All right. You got, I think it's Chargers, Raiders on Thursday. That should be fun. You got Vikings and the Cowboys on Sunday night. That should be an awesome game. And then you got Seahawks, 49ers on Monday night. My goodness, is the primetime calendar lit next week or what? You're on live with your man Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, man, this Tracy again calling in one time, man.
Hey, yeah, go ahead, man. Rep your squad.
Yeah, I was just wondering, man, do you think is Terry McLaurin, has he been getting like double teamed or
talked about that on the Redskins Nightly News. Talked about that on the Redskins Nightly News, man. It's up there.
Come on, man.
I did, man. You gotta. It's
All right,
up. It's on. All right. The episode is already up. So after this go off, after I end this stream, you can jump right up there. It's already up, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. And do you be watching that dude, Ed Oliver, man?
I check it out sometimes. I haven't been checking his work of late though. No.
Man, he need to quit, man. He don't be talking about shit, man. I know you probably don't condone that stuff, but I'll just be trying. I kind of follow both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
But man, he kind of seemed like, man. I be wondering, do he even watch football, man? But you know, that's besides the point, man. I was just wondering, do you watch?
Nah, I mean, I like I said, I don't watch very often. I'm so busy doing my thing. I know a lot of Redskins fans watch him, and that's cool. Like I said, it's enough out here for all of us to eat. But I don't know what he's actually saying, what message he's putting out there. You know, so I can't really say what he is or what he isn't saying. I take your word for it. If you tell me he ain't talking about nothing, then okay, he ain't talking about nothing. But again, I'm not watching enough to be able to say he is or he isn't. You know what I mean?
All right, yeah, well, I got you. I'm gonna hop on your nightly news.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
No doubt, man. Appreciate you. All right. Let's see. Young Dex says, what do you expect in the Saints-Falcons game on Sunday? You expect a blowout or a close game? It really depends. Is Matt Ryan playing? I mean, their defense stinks. But they had a bye week. You're hoping they make some tweaks and some adjustments. It's family business. So for as bad as they've been, I expect them to be competitive. Because it's family business. All right. So I expect them to show up. And even if it gets out of hand late, I expect them to make it competitive early. Like, I don't expect you to jump these boys. And before you even blink, it's 24-3 in the second quarter. I think it's going to be 17-10, 20-13 at halftime. And then you may run away from them in the second half. But I think they're going to make it competitive early on in that ball game because it's family business. And nobody knows another family member better than another family member. You're on live with your man, Louie T. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, this is John. What's up, Lou?
What's going on, John? Rep your squad.
Colts.
Yeah, man. Talk to me.
Oh, man. I got a question about Brissett, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like, what's up with Brissett? Because, I mean, there are some things I like about him,
Mm-hmm.
but there are times where I really want him to, take it down the field. But the issue is that, I don't know, he's playing game manager right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what to make of it right now for him. I don't know if that's just Frank Reich or did I decide to make it easy for him or not. I don't know what's up with that.
So this is the thing with Brissett. He's always been that kind of guy, even to his NC State days. Now, he will stretch the field vertically if given the opportunity to, but this with the way the offense is run, even if you looked at the team last year under Frank Reich, there wasn't a lot of vertical shots. It was a lot of underneath, a lot of and we just attributed it to because we've seen Andrew Luck stretch the field vertically in the past. We just attributed it to his arm. Oh, his shoulder, he wants to work his way back in. But maybe that's more of a byproduct of Frank Reich. Maybe Frank Reich wants to kind of play it close to the vest a little bit. And then when opportunities present itself down the field, take shots. Because this is the second year of Frank Reich, and this is the second year we've seen quarterbacks kind of, matriculate the ball down the field, work underneath. I like the fact that they're really starting to work in Paris Campbell, get him the football. You can see how dynamic he is. If he didn't fall down yesterday with the turf monster, that's a touchdown. So,
oh yeah, that's for sure. I remember seeing that. I was like,
yeah,
a little frustrated, but oh well.
Yeah, this guy is so dynamic. He's and the reason you drafted him is, he can do the shallow crosses like he did at Ohio State. You can run the gadget plays with him like you did yesterday. But he can stretch the football field vertically because my biggest problem with the Colts has always been if T.Y. isn't healthy, you don't have anybody else vertically that can take the top off of defense. Now you have Paris Campbell.
Sure. I mean, after watching this Pittsburgh game, I mean, Paris Campbell played really well for us. But other than that, though, we have a couple of receivers that just, dropping balls here and there.
Yep.
So T.Y.'s presence does make a big difference.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Of course he does. And that's been the issue over the years. And so you're hoping that Paris Campbell develops to the point now where it's 1A, 1B. Like if T.Y. can't, because if you're a real Colts fan, then T.Y. is going to miss 2 to 4 games every season. Every season.
Oh, yeah.
With an ankle, with a knee, something. T.Y. is going to miss some games. So you need somebody else to step up in that other role opposite him at receiver, and they're hoping Paris Campbell is that guy. And I'm seeing flashes of a guy that can do that. Now I want to see him catch the football and make some plays at receiver and not as a gadget guy. So It'll be interesting, but in to answer your question with Brissett, I love Brissett. I think he's got a chance to be a really good quarterback in this league, and I like the way he's been managing the game, and because the defense is solid, the run game has been good. I just want to continue to see him grow, and as he becomes more comfortable, I think he's going to start taking shots.
Wait till like the end of the season to make a full judgment whether he's the long-term answer or not.
Yeah. Well, the Colts have already told you what they think. They gave him a 3-year contract extension, so they think he's the guy. So they wanted to get out in front of that train before he blows up, and then all of a sudden now they got to give him a lot more money than they intended to. So I think they believe in him, and I like him, and I think he's got a chance to be really good for them.
Oh yeah, that's good. And one more question.
Sure.
Do you think so about Singletary, if you're in that position where he's having this issue with kicking, whether it's a mental thing or maybe he's just a bad times calling, do you cut him or do you still continue to ride till the very end?
So he's been so good for you for so long. Sometimes loyalty can come at a cost. And with him, I think some of it is mental. The kick yesterday was not his fault. The laces were in. The laces need to be out. So he never had a chance on that kick. It's rare that a kicker makes a kick with the laces facing in. So that was tough. But he's had his fair share of struggles. But just like last week, he had some struggles in that game. When the game was on the line, what did he do? He made the kick.
He made it.
So the thing about it is he's done so many good things for you. He's done so many things in his career that you just trust him to a fault. You would much rather him come into the office and say, hey man, you guys need to find somebody else. I can't do this anymore, rather than cut him. But if he's missing kicks at a rate that is costing you games, like again, that one yesterday wasn't his fault. I'm not going to put that one on him. But if the laces were out and he missed that kick the same way, then you got to start reevaluating. Look, do we need to start bringing kickers in on Tuesdays and trying guys out? I can tell you.
Did that, I think what was that? I think it was week 2. Chris Ballard mentioned that they were looking into some kickers, but after that he started to do pretty good.
And at that time too, Vinatieri, he sounded like a man that was defeated that he was ready to retire. He's going to retire after the year anyway. I can tell you that right now. He's done after the season.
Sure. I mean, 5 times good. You're not going to play forever. I mean, it is what it is. But I am grateful for him for all the years he has done. But I said sometimes, I agree with you with that. It was not his fault with that league. But sometimes those quicks, man, those situations, you're just like, I don't know.
I can tell you this much. There aren't many good kickers out there, just so you know. You could bring a bunch of retreads in. They're out there for a reason. So, it is what it is.
Oh, okay. Hey, thanks for taking my call, Luke.
Hey, no problem, man. Glad you called in and rep your squad, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So, that is pretty much it. I'll see if there are any more comments up here that I need to address. But it's almost Monday Night Football time, and it's my family business. So, I'm ready for this family business. So, Tyler R. says, what are your impressions of Matt Patricia a year and a half in? I feel like we're in the middle of building a really good team. I'm not a big Matt Patricia fan. I'm really not. But that being said, they've been really competitive this year. And if you've listened to my podcast, I've told you that they've exceeded my expectations. I did not expect them to be in the spot that they're in. You could really, and I said this on the podcast, the Lions could easily be, what are they right now? 3-4-1. So they play 8 games. They could easily be 6-2, 7-1 right now, like straight up. They could have easily have beaten the Chiefs. They should have beat the Packers. They could have won yesterday versus the Raiders, and they definitely shouldn't have tied with the Cardinals. If they don't call a timeout in that game when you're looking to convert on 3rd down and Stafford converts, you win that game. So they could easily be 6-2, 7-1. So I understand what you're saying when you say you feel like you're building something, but I still feel like they're the same Lions where for whatever reason, you find ways to lose games. Like yesterday, you don't convert late in the game. Stafford has a chance to tie the game up. I did not like the play call. You're killing them all day long with your big receivers. They can't stop Galladay. They can't stop Jones. And you go play action fake. You're not fooling anybody. You weren't going to run that in. So for you to take all your big play receivers off the field and try to throw it to a tight end and Thomas, I didn't like that call. Then you fumbled on the opening possession of the game. You got it going. And that ultimately proved to be the difference in the game. You were looking to go get points on that opening possession, and instead you fumble the football. You just find ways to lose. So I still feel like it's the same Lions. Nothing has changed to me. But in the same breath, I do understand why you feel like this team is trending in the right direction, but you got to win games. It's about results in this league, and you're still losing games that the Lions have always lost. So still a little frustrating, but I get where you're coming from. Anyway, that's going to do it for the program. I thank you guys for joining me here on Rep Your Squad. If it's not your man T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, I thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Louie T Network if you haven't already done so, and look forward to chopping it up with you guys next week. Remember, man, no matter what fan of any team you are, I want you to call in and rep your squad. Until next week, I'm your man Louie T signing off. I'll see you guys later at the conclusion of Giants Cowboys. Until then, you guys have a good one. See you after the game for Monday Night Football overtime. Take care.
Louie